Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And what do you
nice.
do? What do you do?
I'm I am an executive assistant for the CFO of Valencia College.
CFO.
Yeah, Chief Financial Officer of
Oh,
the college.
you're the money woman. Okay, cool. You're in charge of the bucks.
No, he's in charge of the Bucks. I just put it where he tells me he wants it to go.
Okay, you're right. Well, cool. Okay, and we got Tashawn Davis on here as well, it looks like. And
Hi, Tashawn. Yes.
Sandy Tashawn. Hi, Tashawn.
Unfortunately, I just made a boo-boo, so a whole bunch of Cindy twins are getting ready to log in. I
I
accidentally
know, I
shared my
see that.
private link. I shared my link, and now everybody's going to log in and be me today. So my bad.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny.
okay, it's cool.
My bad.
There's now four Cindy's. Four Cindy's.
Hey, I wish I could actually clone some of those people and really get some extra help there. Oh,
Get some extra help, right? I know
that's
that's
Yeah.
my
right.
bad. So hi, you guys introduce, let me change your name. If you're actually not Cindy, will you change your name so that we can know who's in the room? And that's my bad. I was not supposed to send y'all that link because it lets you log in as me.
Oh,
So if y'all
Yetian's
can
here. My
hear.
friend Yetian from Austria. Yetian. Hi. Nizema Young.
Hi, yeah. Oh, yes, we connected on LinkedIn. So thank you for that connection, Kristen.
Ah, cool. Yes. She's in Vienna.
Yes, hello.
But we global, Cindy B. When I tell you we global, we be having people from all over the world coming to these Zooms. So we global.
I see. I see.
Oh, yeah.
Good,
Go ahead
good
and
evening. This is
hi, you
Samantha
guys.
Wallace with Man Up Mentoring.
Hi, Samantha.
Hi, I'm trying to figure out how to change the name and stuff on here.
Ooh, y'all, I cannot believe I did that. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. It's okay. I think I might be able to do it from my end. But if not, Samantha, it's not a big deal.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for having me.
Hi there.
Hi, Samantha.
Hello.
Hi, Samantha.
Okay, what's about to happen? Make sure you guys get some good sound. Okay. Come on. Add device. Don't need Bluetooth. Take Bluetooth off. Okay. Deja vu. I'm going to get started here in just a minute. I'm trying to share my screen. Don't need that. Oh. Hmm. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move on. I will step away briefly. I'm going to have to go get another speaker. That one seems to be giving me problems. But in the meantime, hi, everybody. So if you are just joining us, hi. If you are just, there's the photographer. Hi. Oh, I
Hi.
am cloned. I
Hi,
am cloned. I got my wishes. I am cloned, baby. There goes. I see a whole bunch of, I got to get a screenshot of this. I have been cloned. Hi, Kathy. Y'all do me a favor while I get my technology life together. I just came off 5-hour training on racial
Wow.
on racial privilege. It was a 5-hour training on racial privilege. So from that to this, so very happy to be here. And all of you that are here, whether you're signed in as me or not, are from different places in the world. And this happens every month. We have people from all over the country. If they just happen to see the post, they'll show up, but I don't do any advertising other than it's literally word of mouth. So we had about 20 people register, so you guys will notice that I'll be letting people in throughout if people come late. But first of all, welcome. You guys are here helping me fulfill a mission that kind of was just like put on my plate. I told God I ain't doing that. I am not doing that. And God was like, yes, you are. So this is a result of it. Just living in my purpose. Came up with the idea. And the message was just educate people about childhood trauma. And once you educate people about childhood trauma, everything else will start to make sense. And it is so true. It is so true. So it's so good to see some of the people on the call tonight. I wish I could see who was all here. If you know how to change your name on the screen, feel free to go ahead and do that. I made the mistake by sending my private link. So as people pulled up in that private link, it's going to show with multiple Cindy's in the room. And that is actually not the case. I wish it was. Whew, deep breath. That was a tough training. In a minute, I'm going to share my screen. And there's going to be some questions on the screen that I'm going to ask people to take a moment. And if you're in a safe place to do so, you're going to drop your response in the chat based on the question that you're going to see on the screen. And then we'll do a quick round of introductions. I'll tell you why we're here, what I hope that you walk away hearing as a result of a 57-minute documentary that literally can explain without explaining where we are as a society today. It just makes so much sense. And so I hope that this film touches you like it touched me, because I've seen it a million times, but I definitely feel like it does a really good job visually in plain language, helping us see why all 8 billion souls need to know about this. I mean, that's me. So I hope you feel the same way when you get ready to see it. It's only 57 minutes long. So let me shut up because I gotta get the sound right. Here's what's about to happen. I'm about to share my screen. And then while I'm sharing my screen, I don't want to connect my Bluetooth today, so I'm gonna turn you on. Okay. I'll see your screen. Okay. If you're able, because I can't see you guys anymore with the way things are set up, but if you're able, I'm gonna ask you guys to respond to that. Just showing the meeting. Can y'all see my screen right? Which screen? Y'all see a golden ticket? Excellent.
Yeah.
Y'all do that for me. I'm gonna go grab a microphone. All right. Using the poll or comments, please share your familiarity with the ACEs with adverse childhood experiences. I got several A's. Welcome, A's. We love when A's come in the room, because when A's come in the room, y'all stay in the room and watch what I tell you. Let's see, we've got a couple of B's, Cindy B, Jose's B. All right, excellent, excellent. So the question is, if you can't see the screen, basically A, if you're new to learning the ACEs, B, if you're kind of familiar with them, and C, if you consider yourself a subject matter expert. So let's see who's in the room. All right, I want to hear, I'd like, if you're in a good place to do so, and again, you can be off camera, just be safe, whatever you need, kick your feet up. But if you are comfortable with coming off of the microphone, I use this first 10 minutes to say, if you are a B or a C, meaning you're familiar or you identify as an expert, I would love to hear at least one or two people come off of the microphone. And if you could, in a very brief way, explain using one word first, what you felt when you learned about ACEs. Use one word just to say, this is what I felt when I learned about ACEs. Just one word. And then the second part of that, whoever takes this as a volunteer opportunity to speak up, what made you stay in the conversation? How did you feel? One word. And then what made you stay in the conversation? I'd be curious. So anybody, I can't see hands, so feel free to come off the microphone. And if there's more than one, y'all just go in order.
Hi,
This is
Cindy.
Samantha Wallace. Okay, go ahead.
I wish people were this polite on I-4.
Samantha, go ahead. Go ahead, Samantha.
Oh, thank you so much. When I first learned about it, actually, I was conducting an interview on Star 94.5 with Monica May. They had an expert there. And what was interesting, I thought it was just eye-opening. But why it most resonates is because of the population of young people that we work with, um, and the service area that our program is in. Uh, there are high number of ACEs, the population. So that's why it most resonates. But it was definitely eye-opening, and there's just so much to learn and to help us to better effectively serve our population. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha Wheeler. And go ahead and stay off of mute. Samantha, can you two things? I'm going to try to paraphrase what I heard you say. And then when I'm done, would you also tell us the name of your organization? And again, when you get to a safe place and you're able to drop anything in the chat, if you want people to be able to follow your work, you can do that as well. But if I heard you correctly, your one word or word with the dash is eye-opening. And then you stayed in the conversation after you heard Monica May's radio interview, which was probably either with Dr. Candace Jones or it might have even been me, because I've been on her radio station talking about it. You decided to stay in the conversation because it affected the population of boys you serve in the nonprofit that you run. Is that correct?
Yes, and we serve both boys and girls, so it's both. But yes, you captured it, all the information. Thank you.
Will you tell us the name of your organization again?
Sure. Man Up Mentoring.
Man Up
Yeah.
Mentoring. Man Up Mentoring right here in Orlando.
Yes.
Right here in Orlando.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, Miss Samantha. Is there one other person I can hear from or we can hear from?
Yeah, hi, Cindy. Christian here. Christian Austin. Hi. Yeah, I guess I felt included. As soon as I heard about it, we heard about it in my doing my master's in criminology, and they were teaching us, to understand the prison populations, you need to understand the nervous system, and thereby understand ACEs. And as soon as I heard about the ACEs study, I just felt included. It was like, wow, that describes a lot. I had 9 out of 10 ACEs by the time I was 17. So yeah, included.
You said included or indifferent? I want to make sure I heard that word right.
Included. I felt included.
I like. Awesome. Thank you, Christian. And Christian, microphone time coming up very shortly, but I appreciate that. Is there any other one person that put in B or C that would like to share?
I will.
And
This is Cindy B. My one word is wow. I learned about ACEs doing the peace and justice training to facilitate. But I come from Detroit, Michigan, and I worked in criminal courts and family court for 21 years. So it made sense. Because I didn't hear about this in Detroit. I heard about it when I got here to Florida.
I do appreciate you, all three of you, for sharing. I wanted the A's to hear this, because if there are A's, and I see that there are some A's in the room, what you are about to hear is going to likely be eye-opening, depending on your childhood experiences. You might hear it and feel activated. And if you get activated, that is an excellent response from the body, because the body is telling you you are in the right place. So if you get activated, you are in the right place. The other thing that I want A's to hear is nobody can tell you how to feel when you first learn about ACEs. Can't nobody tell you how to feel. Can't nobody tell you how to respond when you first learn about ACEs. But the thing that all people who are coming to the conversation for the first time need to understand, I don't care who raised you, rich, poor, black, white, Asian, black, London, Texas, Orlando, wherever you're from, if you had to go through childhood, and that makes pretty much all of us, unless you were an incubator baby, you still would have had to go, even if you was an incubator baby. At some point, if you were not directly affected by ACEs, like having them put on you, you witnessed them, because nobody has been able to escape them if you are a human being. That's just pretty much the way all the time. It's not doomsday yet, but either you were on one side or the other side of this spectrum of what we're getting ready to talk about when it comes to childhood trauma. So with all of that, without further ado, thank y'all for being here. I created this space because our mission at ACEs Matter is to educate 1 million people about ACEs by any means necessary. Tashawn would laugh when I say, write the vision, make it plain. I didn't know what I was going to do. At first, I rejected the assignment for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, if this is going to fix the world, I'll educate. I'll educate myself and get out there. And so wrote the vision. And, here we are 6 years later. ACEs Matter will be 6 years old in May. And so it's really good to see how far we've come, because what we learn about ACEs is that all of us at some point were impacted by them, because we were most likely raised by parents who had them. That's the bottom line there. So welcome. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I start the conversation off, and I love when people who are new to the conversation, when I ask this question, I ask, have you ever tried to hug a cactus? Anybody in here ever tried to hug a cactus? For time's sake, it's a rhetorical question. But the truth is, many of us will not run up to a cactus and hug it because they're prickly. They sting. But the truth is, every cactus has what inside of it that we know of? Water. That we'd be hugging that cactus if we was thirsty.
Cactus juice.
That cactus juice, which is kind of water, right? Every cactus, right? So sometimes learning about ACEs can feel like trying to run up to a cactus and hug it. It is very prickly, very, very prickly. But even cactuses need love. And I learned when I started studying ACEs, oh my God, I was that cactus. I was the cactus with the ACEs. I was the cactus that has so many ACEs that my water took the shape of the container it was in. Aggressive, resentful, you name them. Like just a whole bunch of trauma that I couldn't name. And so when I say trying to hug a cactus, you'll see why at the end of the movie, why it is so important that even if this feels prickly, we all embrace the cactus anyway, if that makes sense. So here's my belief that if we nurture the neurons of the nurturers, we will be in a better place. I am now, as of today, a published author, officially a published author. I published A Crucible of Childhood Adversity after 3 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and I got that baby on the shelf before AI existed. Of course, AI helped me bring it through the finish line, but I started before I even knew AI was a thing. And ultimately, I just realized that before I even knew some of the research that was already out there on this, because I came in as a civilian, as a former public school educator, as somebody who's been 3 times placed in jail. Christian, I heard your story, talking about going to jail. So not ashamed to say it. ACEs predicted it, that I would probably end up in jail based on my childhood trauma. And sure enough, it happened, right? So I wonder would my story had been different if somebody would have helped my mom. I wonder if my story had have been different if somebody would have helped my mom's mom, and so on and so forth, right? In a way that was compassionate. So here's the breaking news: whether you stay for the after party or not, my takeaway, and anybody that I'm surrounding around me to do this work believes that we need to pour into the parents that have this unresolved childhood trauma, and we need to get creative about it, because that's the way you stop it, right? Research is already telling us that if your parent, your mother particularly, if she had multiple adversities leaving her own childhood, more than 50% chance that she was going to also pass that down to any children she bore after that if she didn't get help. How many of our parents just didn't have master classes, TED Talk, self-help books, or you name it, right? So the fact is that the research is telling us that, hey, most likely, if you had a parent that was raised in ACEs, whatever the times was, the chances are you're probably going to have them too when you leave home. So that's my message. Help the parents with ACEs is where we want to start, and try to make that as sexy as we possibly can so that the money is put in the hands of people who are actively working with the children with ACEs and the children's parents that have ACEs. And we're only as sick as our secrets. But we are also as strong as the truths we share, right? When I say we're only as sick as our secrets, I'm talking about these secrets that we don't talk about once we leave home. We don't talk about the mental illness of whoever was caring for us at the door. We may not talk about the violence in the home. We may not talk about the substance abuse. I'm reading off ACE categories. We may not talk about somebody going to jail that we might have seen as a child. We may not talk about the abuses, the neglects, the bullying, the homelessness, maybe even psychiatric or foster care places. We just try to leave childhood and forget about it. Our bodies don't work that way, unfortunately. And once you start doing the work of ACEs, it starts to make sense why we respond to certain situations, because we're programmed. We are programmed in childhood on how we would respond to stressors once we became adults. That's the bottom line. No scientific big words needed at this point. So this is how I explain to the lay people. This is what it feels like. Imagine a kid having to go home to that every night for 18 years, or what that time limit is. And then imagine that kid having to walk through community ACEs on the way. This is what I mean when I say we are only as sick as our secrets. That's kind of, I think, all the bad news y'all gonna hear, like the somber part. Hold on, I'm trying to work this magic, okay? The good news is there are people like me and Christian and Tabitha and Cindy and Jose and all of us. We're actually out there trying to do something about it. Even if we're only chipping away at the mountain, we're still making a big difference. So I want to give some microphone time to a special guest who's calling in from London. I have no idea what time it is in London. But let me tell you what happens when you start focusing on healing yourself and then helping other people. You end up meeting really cool people along the way. And Kristen just happens to be one of the cool people that I've met. And Kristen published a book. So Kristen, I'm going to shut up and give you up to 7 minutes or so to tell us a little bit about yourself. And then guys, when Kristen is done, I'll tell you a little bit about the movie. We'll hit play. You can turn your camera off, get your popcorn, whatever. And then after the 57-minute documentary is over, if you decide to stay in dialogue about it, we're going to leave the Zoom room open for that. It's not required. Kristen, before you go, I do want to tell my A's that in the room, feel free to take care of yourself the best way you know how. I've had people leave halfway through the movie because it was too much, and that's okay. Now, it's not rated R, okay? It's definitely PG-13, but it's just when people get activated by things that they have buried for so long, you have a reaction, and that's totally okay. It's totally normal. I encourage it, right? But take care of yourself the best way you can, and then if you need resources, this is where I recommend people directly talk to your doctors and therapists or support groups about it, right? And if they don't know, guess what? They do now because you brought it up to them. So they're going to be curious. So do it anyway, right? Because we do need to hold the medical field more accountable to understanding stuff like this. And all social workers and counselors need to know this. So here we go. Kristen, the microphone is yours. It is 6:09 on my time. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Cindy, thank you so much for the invitation. This is so cool. Okay, aces. Yeah, like I say, I had 9 by the time I was 17. Uh, it all my father was gay in the 1960s in England, and it was a criminal offence to be gay. So, like most gays in the 1960s, he married, had children, and tried to hide his feelings for men. And he hit the bottle hard, and he hit all of us. My mother, the violence he doled out to my mother was horrific, but also to me, my special needs brother, and my 2 sisters. No one was exempt. So I was by 6 years old. I was arrested for the first time at 6 years old for stealing a bicycle, and I found myself in a police station cell. Uh, Fast forward, I he taught me violence. I took violence to the playground. I was a bully. I was always fighting. I was always in trouble. 12 years old, my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and at the same time, I was caught with some friends creating criminal damage on a construction site, and I was placed in council care. Council care, more aces. Luckily, I was violent, so the sexual abuse that was going on in the council care schools wasn't didn't come near me because I was violent. Luckily. But then from there, 3 years in council care. Then I went to young men's prisons at 15 when they can first lock you up. Then grown up prisons at 19, spent 10 years in prison, 17 years injecting heroin. And that was between the ages of 12 years old when I was put in care and 35 years old. I went to rehab. I'd written 3 letters to rehab and the first 2, they laughed at me. They said, "Yeah, you're just trying to avoid jail." Of course I was. The third one, they said, "Hang on a minute, you sound like you might be ready. We're going to come and interview you." And this guy he'd done his time at the rehab when he was a drug user in the 60s and then became a member of staff. And he came and interviewed me in prison. And very shortly after talking with me, he said, "You're ready." I said, "How do you know?" He said, I know. I've been around this for a long time. I know you're ready. And I'm going to recommend that you can come. You can come to our rehab. So I was given probation, a condition of residence, and the judge told me very sternly, "If you screw up, you're getting another 5 years in prison." I didn't screw up. I stayed. Then I moved to a new city. I started my life over again at 35 years old. But most people leave school at 16 years old with a level playing field. I left rehab at 35, still in a 20-foot deep hole. And it took me a long time to climb out of that hole. I worked in construction and I worked my way up to assistant manager on a construction site company. And then I was made redundant. And I decided to go to university. I'd already been playing guitars and saxophones for many years. And this time I just thought I'd take it to academia. I was accepted by university, and next door was to Cardiff University was Cardiff Prison. I spent 3 years walking up and down this staircase, looking through the glass into my old world of prison. And during my 3rd year, I was expected to do work experience. And because I'd learned most of my music in prison, I asked my tutor if I could go into the prison and teach the prisoners how to play music, which he said was a fantastic idea. I decided to write my undergrad dissertation on music programs in prisons and came to the attention of someone in Cambridge University. She invited me to a symposium at Cambridge where I went. I met her, and then she said, "Tell me your life story." I went back to her house. She invited me back to her house and said, "Tell me your life story," which I did. And she said, "Amazing, absolutely incredible. Why don't you apply to come here to study for a master's in criminology, and I'll be your supervisor?" I was like, "What? You're kidding." No, no, no. Honestly, just do well. I went back to Cardiff. I got a best dissertation for 2015-16, best business project for 2015-16, and I was accepted to Cambridge University to do a master's in criminological research, which I've passed with flying colours. And then all the while I was at Cambridge, so many friends in the bar most of us were in the bar every evening. It's stressful stuff, you know, Cambridge University. And they were like, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. I left Cambridge and I moved to Georgia, between Turkey and Russia. And I lived in Georgia, the country Georgia, not the state, for almost a year. And then COVID happened. And my friends in France that I knew from the British music festival scene, they were like, you need to come here and write your book. So they lived not far from the Spanish border in southwest France. I flew out there because I couldn't earn music and earn money as a musician in Tbilisi in Georgia anymore because all the bars and restaurants were shut. So I went to France and I just started writing and writing. And in 10 weeks, I'd written 250 pages. It took me another 5 or 6 years to get the book finished because I came back to England and I worked full time. And I'm pleased to say, 2 weeks ago, I published my book. You can see it on the screen there. I published my book 2 weeks ago and it's getting phenomenal reviews. I've got 8 reviews on Amazon. They're all 5-star. I've got nothing less than 5 stars. And they're really, really, they're not just like, this is a good book. These reviews are really thoughtful and articulate. It's incredible. And yeah, so basically, I tell people my book is actually a handbook on survival and resilience. And if you read it, you'll know exactly what I mean. And I've since leaving Cambridge, I've also carved myself. I'm carving myself a career as a public speaker. So there's a talk that I had professionally filmed at Cambridge University in October. I'll place a link in the comments shortly, and I'll also place a link in the comments regarding my book. And that's my story.
Thank you. I have spotlighted you. I'm just over here cheesing because it is so great to see what I call modern day Thomas Clarksons. Does that ring a bell to you, Christian? Thomas Clarkson? Thomas, am I saying his name right? Gosh, if I got that wrong. Yeah.
No.
I think
Thomas Clarkson.
Did I say it right?
I don't know.
It's
Thomas Clarkson.
Yeah, that's it.
Who is that?
The abolitionist. Yeah, he's the English abolitionist who back in the day wasn't white guy. And he advocated at the age of 21 in British abolitionist, that he thought slavery was wrong. A white man went against the grain over there where y'all are, over there where y'all are.
Yeah.
And because Thomas Clarkson did that thing over there, the message got over here to our country. And so it's really good to see modern day Thomas Clarksons and people who are using their story, whether they are a part of privilege or not, to actually make a difference. So we are happy to have you. And then Kristen or anybody on this call, if y'all hear from somebody today that you want to connect with over LinkedIn or email, this is a place where y'all can do that in the chat. Like, I don't monitor and tell people don't, like, I know if you're here because of the ACEs. So feel free to connect with Christian. If you're a book reader, if you're a video watcher, you're going to get a very powerful story. And again, I can't say enough. ACEs don't care how much money you are. They don't care where you grew up, what color you are. If your parents had ACEs, the chances that you would be raised if they didn't get help is astronomically large. So Christian, thank you for sharing your voice and your story and changing so many lives with your story. Wow. So many lives are going to be changed with your story.
Yeah. I'll leave a link to the book, to the talk of the Cambridge University talk, and a link to my website, because that's got all my social media on it. You know, if you want to connect on Facebook or Instagram, or I think LinkedIn's on there as well. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Sandy.
Excellent. You're welcome. And I save about 5 minutes, and I'm doing this intentionally because my wonderful board member, Dr. Tabitha Ostroud, is here. And so she's going to be hopefully doing one of these next month for us while I'm over in Egypt. I get to do a trip to Egypt next month. So while I'm there, hopefully Tabitha is going to be able to do this. So I usually leave about 5 minutes. If there's anybody on the Zoom that wants to come off and introduce yourself, I'm going to say who I know who's in here. I know Kathy. And y'all will see Kathy on, I don't know where you are on your thing, but Kathy Chu is here. Kathy and I met in the comedy ecosystem. Kathy and I have done a comedy show together. What has it been, like 2 weeks ago? right? And so now, because of the work I get to do with ACEs, I am using what I know, and I'm doing stand-up comedy. And I happened to meet this amazing woman named Kathy while I was doing it. And I was like, hey, come to the screening. And so Kathy and I are going to do another comedy show together in May. And so she's here to educate herself about ACEs because she's an A. She's new to it. She's new to learning it for the first time. So to see what happens, like the chances of me and Kathy making connections like that. And then Dr. Tabitha Ostra is a researcher, as well as a mom. She's making a difference in multiple ways through adopting kids who are part of the system. That's one way to do it. She's also educating herself. She's writing about it research wise. So cool. I just love these antidotes. So I'm going to shut up. 5 minutes. If you want to come off the microphone, introduce yourself, tell us why you're here, and also leave in the chat and exchange contact information. I give 5 minutes for that, and then we'll start the show. No obligation, though. Kathy,
Well,
you want to go first?
Mine's fast. I don't need 5 minutes. It's more like 5 seconds. But no, yes, we did this show, Cindy, and I've always thought that what you said about your work was very important. So when you said that, hey, we're going to do another show to kind of highlight the cost, I was all for it. And I know not only is it about like what I might have to say, which may or may not be very much, but it's also going to be obvious surrounded by people who have a lot to say about this topic, and it's going to be all the right kind of people. But I think, partially I am just here to learn. I figuring we're going to do this show. I'd like to understand a little bit better what is the underlying cause. And I mean, I got the gist of it from what you said, but this would just give me a better understanding, a different layer. So that's what I'm doing.
Glad to have you. And laughter is the best medicine. That's the truth. And Kathy's funny. So you guys go find Kathy on YouTube and support her work. Tabitha, do you want to take a quick minute or a second?
Yes, sure. Hey, everybody. Hopefully I'm going to learn a lot tonight so that I can put this on next month and carry on the torch while our fearless leader, Cindy, has her much deserved vacation. I have all three of my degrees, bachelor's, master's, and PhD in psychology, really focused on adverse childhood experiences and their adult impacts. I've published a few scientific articles about adverse childhood experiences across the generations, between birth generations, and then I just finished my dissertation earlier last year about adverse childhood experiences in adult nutrition, which is how I got connected with Tashawn. Tashawn and I worked together at the ACEs Summit to have a nutrition panel about the link between childhood trauma and adult nutrition. So we learned a lot about that, and joined the board of ACEs Matter just in December. So excited to use what I've learned in the research, but then actually do something about it. I feel like I've established that there's a clear cause between adverse childhood experiences and basically every adult outcome: physical, mental, social, emotional, everything. But now wanting to do something about it. So became a board member last month, and then also am a single mom to a 3-year-old, and I just started becoming a foster parent. So I feel like I'm trying to bookend it, right? Like Cindy said, we're trying to heal from it and make sure that we can parent our children better, but then hopefully being able to work with bio parents and children in the foster care system to try to help them overcome those adversities as well. So excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Jose, let's go. I see you, Jose. Tell them how I'm not want to put you on the spot, Jose. Yeah, hey, you are anointed. So go ahead and say what you need.
Praise God. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to learn. I mean, it really caught my attention when I first heard you. I was like, man, that's crazy that, somebody is already running with this play and teaching this and bringing that type of awareness. I'm in the middle of that right now, of developing some stuff for nervous system leadership. And it's just discovering, I've been working for over a decade trying to figure out this what big, man, this is what's up for me. And when I heard y'all, I was like, man, that's crazy that somebody's tagged to that degree. So yeah, I'm excited to learn what God does.
getting that language. You're going to be able to add this language to the amazing things you already do. So happy to have you. Dawn, I see that you're here. Dawn is one of the co-authors in the new book or co-contributors in the new book that I just published. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to say a few things, the microphone is yours. And then to Sean as well, if you're in a safe place, I'd love to hear from you. If not, we're going to move on.
Just saying good evening and congratulations on the book. And so good to hear you will be going to Egypt. Thank you.
Motherland. Yes, yes, yes. And just so y'all know, it's people on here right now on this call from all over. Obviously, Christian is calling in from London. Dawn is up in New York. Yetian, I'm not sure where you're calling from, but if y'all are comfortable, drop in the chat where you're calling from. So thank you. And then to Sean, again, not to put you on the spot, I met Tashawn, and when Tashawn explained what it was that she did trying to help people understand the nutrition of just everything, I was like, nutrition is an antidote to ACEs, right? And if you're not in that field, you're not going to know that. And so I established a relationship with Tashawn because I knew that she had a gift to help people get their mind right by eating right, especially children. And I was a public school educator having to suspend kids by 8 o'clock in the morning because they were just off the chain. So like, I totally get Tashawn's work. So thank you. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Let's do this. Without further ado, there's a documentary called Resilience. I have a license to show this privately because we purchased it years ago, and it just right now in this era or this time, they do the best job of explaining it. There hasn't been another one created since this was created, I want to say back in 2014 maybe. So with the license, I get to show it in a private setting like this, and hopefully you guys take something away from it. I do have to say that this can be purchased on your own. If you want to have your own copy to go back and watch it on your own, YouTube has a copy of it. PBS has a copy of it. And if I'm not mistaken, even Prime Video, you can rent it or purchase it on Prime if you want to see it after and go back and look at it. I tell people during this time, you may want to turn your camera off. You may want to have a notebook next to you because they're going to be dropping a lot of stats. You'll hear them. It's not medical, but you'll hear them drop some stats and some things that you may want to capture. It's up to you. I encourage people to look for the Thomas Clarksons. Look for the Christians, not the Christians, but the Christians, look for Austin, look for the people in the movie that are actually helping. Because at the end of the day, that's all we can do is try to help. There's nothing new under the sun. What we're seeing is just the same thing in a different era. But we do have an opportunity to do something about it. So I encourage you guys to, if it starts to feel kind of daunting, make sure you narrow in and magnify on the people who are doing something about it, because it can feel overwhelming. And then if you decide to stay after the film, we're going to talk about it. Not required, but it's up to you if you do. And we want to make sure that we leave a space for people to have a chance to chat and see what connections you made. So the last message before I go off and hit play is no epidemic has ever been resolved by trying to pay attention to treating an affected individual. This dude published this a long time ago. So like when I say this is nothing new under the sun, this dude published that a long time ago, right? We have been band-aiding this for quite a long time by building prisons, by extending welfare benefits or whatever you want to call it, right? That's what we do. We've been band-aiding. And so let's get to the core of what it takes to deal with this, because at the end of the day, we are the antidotes. And $300 million later, thanks to the CDC and the National Institutes of Health, we know for sure that ACEs are the real, what was Eminem's song? Slim Shady. ACEs are the real Slim Shady. Please stand up. $300 million of your money and my money, and if you pay taxes money, keeps coming back with the same conclusion. And what I've done is I simplified it. If you're not a research person and you don't want to read the science, you don't have to. Pretty much at the end of all research, it says you need to be doing one of these 10 things if we want to get this right. So save you some time and then focus in on, you guys are doing the number one thing, which is awareness. That's where it all starts. So y'all ready? Kick your feet up, get comfortable, turn your camera off. It's going to play for about 57 minutes. When it comes off, we'll come back on camera and enjoy. So use the chat sparingly, because when you guys chat, it'll pop up on the screen. And so it'll interrupt the film. So try to use that sparingly and take a note or capture just a thought. That way you can talk about it afterwards. But other than that, enjoy the film. Give me about 90 seconds to switch. Okay, real quick, can you guys see and can you hear? Could y'all see that and hear that?
I can see it and hear it. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, perfect.
We all like to think of childhood as this time of joy and innocence. But, I mean, for many of us, it's just not true.
We just pretend all those things don't happen. Our investment in the denial is so high.
You know, kids are young, they're very resilient, they don't know what's going on, they won't remember anyway.
My apologies. Technical difficulties. 1 second. 1 second.